Welcome to the Unstaged Success Podcast. I'm your host, Farah.
Victoria.
And Vanessa.
And we're so excited to have this opportunity and platform to discuss some of the things that we're most passionate about in the industry, amongst each other. And this is the first episode, so we're both excited and nervous, and we're going to start with some questions.
Yes.
So one of the questions that I want, everyone to have a chance answering is, tell us a little bit about how you grew up. Who wants to go first?
So I'm 23 years old. Mm-hmm. I have two sisters. One is 5 years older than me. One is 4 years younger than me. Very, very close. Grew up in an Italian household, raised by my mom and my dad. I would say, how did I grow up? That's a good question. I've never had to actually answer it. I would say we grew up very, very close. When you think of the big Italian family, that's exactly how we were. Christmas dinners at our house, all the cousins, boyfriends, girlfriends, wives, husbands, everybody was there. All of my friends were involved in my family as well. So kind of like what Vanessa and I were speaking about this earlier today about having that open door kind of policy. Mm-hmm. That's exactly how my household was. I'll talk about my parents a little bit. I would say that my dad has been the biggest inspiration in my life in terms of his work ethic, loyalty to companies, how hard he works to provide for the family. And then I would say that my mom has been an inspiration to me in the regard of she was able to raise 3 daughters, maintain and run a household, as well as maintaining a healthy marriage.
Of course.
So I look up to her for that because that's how I hope to be one day. Mm-hmm. When I have my own family, I hope that I'm able to raise them the way that she was able to raise us. And then I think that I get my work ethic from my dad because watching him be super successful in the industry that he's in has been motivating for me, I would say.
I don't think I give your dad enough credit. Every time you come in, I'm like, your mom must be a powerhouse, eh?
She really is. And it's, she was a stay-at-home mom, and a lot of people don't think that that's work. But I think it's actually harder.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I think it's a harder job to have. Because when you go to work, you kind of know what you have to do. You're on a schedule.
Right.
You do this, and that. You have a task. But being a stay-at-home mom, raising 3 kids, there's no book for that.
3 girls, too.
3 girls, too.
Yeah.
There's no book for that,
no,
right? You're just kind of, one day you just become a mom and you're like, I have to figure it out.
Of course.
Right? I have to raise my kids. I have to maintain my marriage. I have to provide.
You have so many things that you have to do.
Yeah. You're a role model to the 3 of you.
My kids.
Yeah.
So they've provided for us in different ways.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that I look up to both of them for both of those things.
Did you get along with your sisters growing up? Or do you guys get along better now that you're older?
I would say that we all got along. Like my parents, it was very big for my parents to make sure that we all grew up very close. So we always did everything together. Despite the age difference, I would say we were always pretty close. We are 3 girls, so the catty fights. Don't touch my clothes. Don't take this. I'm still like that to this day. Whoever knows me, my sisters are not going into my closet. They are not touching anything. But I would still say we're very, very close. Would always go to each other if there's a problem or you need advice. We hang out all the time. My whole family does.
Right.
We're very, very big on family time. We party with our parents every weekend.
Yeah.
Like,
we have Victoria on Instagram.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
just follow the Instagram.
I would say we've always been close, but we're probably closer now as we've been growing up.
Right. Of course.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
For me, what I like to do with when people are doing well at work is when they have kids, I'll write a note to their kid and I'll say, so-and-so did this today.
Right.
And you should know that this person is spectacular. And when Victoria joined the team, it was very clear the value that she completely changed the whole game for us, really helped us grow. And I made a point to write a note to your mom.
Yeah, I remember.
Because I wanted her to know that you've raised such a smart and savvy and hustle that is instilled. But I haven't done that to Pat.
I think she actually started crying when she read that. Because she's like, the greatest reward is somebody else acknowledging your kid.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
So,
of course.
But I will be writing Pat a note as well because
tell him to stay tuned.
Hearing you speak so highly of your dad as well and your mom, kudos to your parents for that.
They're awesome.
Yeah. How about you? How did you grow up?
I grew up in Richmond Hill with in a very Italian household, and I lived with my parents, my nonna, and I have an older sister. Her name is Stephanie. And like Victoria mentioned, we had a very open door policy. So there were always people in our house, whether it was family, neighbors, bringing stuff from their garden. Like there were always people in our house. And because of the community that I was raised in, I learned to speak Italian, and that's how I communicated with my neighbors, my grandparents, and my family. My parents embody the quote, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And I've watched both of my parents work so hard to provide for our family, and they raised my sister and myself to be passionate and strong in anything that we decided to do. And we're all so close, like Victoria said. I think it's a European thing. We're so close, and everyone, there are no secrets. Everyone's so comfortable. It's a safe space. It's comfortable. Mm-hmm. And something else that is really important to me, and if you know me, you know, that I've had dogs my whole life. And I currently have 3. And at the beginning of the pandemic, I adopted a dog from St. Lucia, and his name is JJ. And I think his rescue story is just a reflection of everything that I am and everything that I was taught to be. And yeah, I think I'm just so grateful for the way that I grew up and what I learned from my parents, and everyone that was involved in my life while I was being raised and while I was growing up. They all had such an impact, and I'm grateful for all of them.
Aww, so cute. Can you say something in Italian for me?
Yeah.
Because I always wish
same thing
that I learned.
Ciao, bella, come stai?
I always say to my parents, I'm like, why didn't you teach us? Why didn't you make us learn?
I used to be like completely fluent. Like I could talk to my grandparents.
Beautiful.
Like now, since both of my grandmothers passed away, like I don't speak to anybody in Italian anymore. So I'll understand it perfectly fine. And my mother, me and Victoria were saying this the other day, if somebody starts they're speaking English, so they start talking Italian in front of you, they're talking about you.
It's about you.
If I want to tell my mother something, but it's not the right setting, I'll say it in Italian.
Right.
Or like I'm on the phone and she's asking me a question and someone's in front of me, I'm like,
yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
One more Italian word, not just hi, how are you? Let's make it fun. How do you say the unstaged success in Italian?
Oh, that's a very good question. I don't know. My parents could say whatever and I'll register it.
So you can understand it.
Perfectly.
Right.
I used to be like fluent. Obviously, if I say like my mom, like, what's this word? She'll tell me and I'm like, oh my God, how did I forget that?
Yeah.
And then I'll be able to like,
yeah.
But I think it was a good thing growing up, for sure. Because everyone on that street was severely Italian.
You should have heard me this morning.
Oh, yeah.
Ask Vanessa.
So I actually speak a couple of languages as well.
Yeah.
You probably didn't know that. Some African dialects.
Oh,
we won't
that's
get
nice.
into that, but maybe we will.
But they're dialects.
It's a language. It's called Kachi. And yeah, I speak it because
Right.
same thing, like my grandparents used
Yeah,
to speak it, but
yeah.
I didn't forget it for whatever reason. But we'll get into
That's
it.
awesome. What I speak is a dialect as well. Like, it's not
Like fluent.
proper Italian. Like, if I went to Italy, they would laugh. If I tried to speak to somebody, they would laugh.
I feel like if you guys visited Italy and stayed there for like a prolonged period of time, I think that it would come back naturally.
Oh.
No?
I was there.
No?
No, you could definitely do
No.
it. You could definitely do it.
No.
All right, so how did I grow up? My parents immigrated here from East Africa, Tanzania, and I have 2 older brothers, so no sisters. So I didn't have that close relationship, I was very much like a tomboy growing up. But what I remember in my childhood was my parents were entrepreneurs when they came here. They opened up a business that was selling DVDs and CDs and VHSs when that was a thing. And I was, had to go there every weekend, and we had to sell these videos to stay afloat,
Right.
and I hated it at the time because all my friends were having birthday parties or going to the mall, and I was at the store. But little did I know that I was getting like life lessons at a very, very young age about business and building a team and understanding the value of customer service that I use today. So Mom and Dad, thank you so much for that opportunity to learn so early on. And now here we are at A Lady's Touch.
And I've met them, and they are lovely. They're awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Can you share a story about what brought you to this specific career path at ALT?
Ooh, Vic? Let's hear
Okay.
it.
So I guess, should I speak about like how I got into design and then how it brought me to ALT?
Sure.
Is that kind of what? Okay. So I've always loved design. I always had the softwares on my computer, AutoCAD, SketchUp, rendering programs, always had it on my computer. And I would just start rendering and start designing for fun, just as a hobby. I also always loved fashion. So when I was in high school, I was kind of juggling between the two of them. And at the time, the career that I was in I was in the fashion industry. So when it came time when I was graduating and I had to select a school that I wanted to go to, the fashion business program was more aligned with the career that I was at the time, which is why I decided to go into that field.
Right.
I applied to both. I applied to fashion and design. I got into both, and I was just like, you know what? I'm in fashion right now. I'm going to stick through with it, and I'm going to just go to school for fashion. After that, I was at a company for about 5 years. So I stayed in that industry for 5 years. Absolutely loved it. Still do. But during COVID, I was like, okay, I have some more downtime now. Maybe I'll go back to school for design, since it was always kind of still there for me.
Right.
I was still doing those SketchUps. I created a portfolio just of my work. It was for nobody. And the girls who I worked for at the time actually knew Farah personally. So after I went to school for design and I graduated with an advanced diploma in interior design, I was speaking to the girls at my previous place of work, and I was just saying, do you know anybody? I want to get my foot in the door. And they said, we actually know somebody who runs a staging company, and you've actually helped her before at Black Sheep. So I got in touch with you. From what I remembered, I think I sent you my resume.
Yes.
I even reached out to Vanessa, I think, prior to sending you my resume.
Because you and Vanessa knew each other.
Yeah, so Vanessa and I went to high school together. Didn't really speak much to each other. Vanessa's a year older than me. So we didn't really speak much to each other, except for one vivid memory that I have. And maybe I'll let you explain that one after.
Yeah, I will.
So I reached out to her before applying, and I just said, hey, like, I see that you're working at this great company. Tell me a little bit about it. How did you get the job? What criteria is needed? This, and that. She kind of gave me a whole debrief about it, and then I sent you my resume, and I just remember us getting on the phone and kind of hitting it off right away. And then I started working at ALT.
Did I not respond to you or something? There was a lag. Something happened.
Yes. So I sent you my resume. You didn't have a job posting out at the time, but I wanted to apply anyways, right?
Good on you.
So I sent you over my resume. I think I sent it to info@ladiestouch.ca. I didn't have your personal.
Yeah.
And a few days went by and I didn't hear anything, or at least I thought I didn't hear anything. And I was on my computer one night and I was just like, oh, I guess she's just not hiring. She didn't answer. It is what it is.
Right.
And then I was on my computer, I was scrolling through my emails, and I saw in my spam, it said that there was one email in my spam. And it was from info@alady'stouch.
I didn't know that.
And it was Farah's email. And she had responded within a few hours, I think, of me sending my resume. And she said, I think you said, like, come on by for a shadow day or something like that. And I had missed it. And I was like, shit. I missed the opportunity. This was like 3 days later.
Yeah.
And I was like, I missed it. I was like, but I'm just going to email her back just in case. And I think I let you know what had happened there. And then we jumped on a call.
Yeah.
And then I came in for a shadow day with you.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. And then
Vanessa's input is so valuable to me. I've brought people to Vanessa, and she's straight up been like, no, or yeah, or no, or this and that.
Right.
So the moment we brought you up, Vanessa was like, yeah, you know what? Like, let's give her a chance. And then
like, yeah, she's cool.
She's cool.
not bad.
Let's see what she's got. And, I just want to say, Victoria, you are outstanding. You are such a pivotal part of the company.
Thank you.
And I'm so glad that you checked your spam.
Me too.
And I learned that my emails were going to spam, and I called my web guys immediately after that. And I was like, that can't be happening with clients now, you hear?
So funny.
So yeah, that's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that you're part of the team. How about you, miss?
Oh, lovely. In high school, I don't think I really knew where I wanted to go or what I wanted to do from such a young age, like elementary school. But when I was in high school, I really loved visual arts. I loved art class. I was in art every single year. And funny enough, me and Victoria ended up in the same art class when I was in grade 12 and she was in grade 11. We did not speak at all.
This is the vivid memory.
Yeah,
She's
we sat across from each other, did not say a word. We had to go take pictures outside with the camera and then go into this dark room and develop them. And me and Victoria somehow ended up being partners to go in there together. it was silent for the first like 2 minutes, and then I don't know what happened. We like kind of looked at each other, and she's like, "So what's up?" And then we just started talking and gossiping, and we knew everything about each other in 5 minutes, and then we never spoke again. And then she reached out to me before. But during class, I was always scrolling through Pinterest or watching the Open Door series on Architectural Digest, which is going through the celebrities' homes, seeing what the designers have done. And in grade 10, they actually offered an interior design course. So I was able to make floor plans, 3D renderings, all that kind of stuff, make presentations, which was so fun. And that pretty much sealed the deal. So when I was in grade 12, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And I went to George Brown for interior design technology, and I graduated with an advanced diploma in architecture and interior design. And at the time when I was graduating, we were selling our house. And the realtor she was fantastic. She turned into a very good family friend. And she knew that I just graduated and I was looking for work. And she was like, I work with this stager, and she's great. You should give her a call. Her name's Farah. I gave her a call. I went in for an interview. We got hired.
Obviously. On the spot.
On the spot.
You broke an accessory.
Yeah, she put me to work. She was like, "Can you just something so simple? Can you just unpack that?" I was like, "No problem." I pulled it out, broke. Of course. That was the red flag from the beginning, that I was clumsy.
No. You know what? I'm so thankful for you, because what people might not know is, when it comes to design, you really take the lead at ALT, and you curate all of the greatest designs that we've been able to put out. We do work in a team, and we always have ideas, and we share ideas.
Yeah.
But I will leave it to you to have the final say on how things should look when they're on stages. And we've grown together, when we started our designs, what they looked like, to what they are now. And I'm happy to show what they look like.
They were fitting at the time, like as the industry grows.
Styles,
and
trends.
We grow, right? We grow with it.
Yes. But now we're at a point where we're like, okay, like this is the standard. How do we do this?
Exactly.
Right.
And we've been able to do that together. Yeah. And that to me is why, ALT would never be ALT without you. So even though you broke an accessory, I could have been like, get out of here. But I didn't, because I just wanted, I don't know, there was something very sincere from the moment we met about your passion in design. Like, it was so obvious to me that that's what you were meant to do. That's your purpose. And then right after we started offloading, I said, in this industry, it's not just glamour and it's not just design. Like, you need to be able to roll up your sleeves. So I took you straight to a D stage.
I remember that.
This is before we had movers on the team. So me and you took the van to a D stage and had to unbox, build things together.
Yeah, I think we were building a coffee table.
Yes, we were. We were humble beginnings. And you've been there for me since that point.
Almost 3 years, I think.
Yeah.
In November. Yeah.
And we've grown so much, and I just see so much more growth happening for us.
Of course.
Yeah, I love you, V. And Vic. So how did ALT come into fruition? I always thought I was going to be a journalist, broadcaster. Went into the news, then decided to make a shift and go into meteorology. Got a master's in meteorology. At the same time, we were selling our house. And I instinctively thought every single room should be presented to its best potential.
Right.
Because the way that we live is very different from the way that we market homes.
Right.
But it was instinctual. I don't know why that came over me. It just was something that I wanted to do. Started going out, buying rugs, updating lighting. Mind you, we never lived like this while we were in the house.
Right.
But when it came time to selling, the house looked incredible. It sold within 3 days, over asking, and the buyers wanted to buy all the furniture.
Oh, amazing.
So that was like the light bulb that went out. And I said, hey, you know what? I have a knack for this. I have a passion for this.
Right.
So then I started doing it for more family and friends. And then one thing led to another. I had to make a very hard decision in my career, because I went from being a meteorologist on City TV Toronto, a great position, to now taking on a risk of starting this business with no guarantee that it's going to work out.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And it did. And it also has to do with, being fearless, but also finding right people, showing them their strengths, building that all up and growing together. And I think that's where ALT came about. Now we have the opportunity to stage and help people sell and achieve so much value for their homes. And there's nothing more rewarding. I'm so glad that we're here.
Yeah. Me too. Can you share a story about the funniest funniest mistake that you made when you were first starting, and can you tell us what life lessons you learned from that?
You guys want me to go first?
Yep.
Okay, it wasn't when I was first starting. It was actually this week. Yeah, because you're making mistakes and learning every day, right?
Yeah.
So we got a request for a quotation, and the street name had a first name, and that was not the client's name. However, when I sent her the quotation back, I did address her by the street name of the property and not by her first name.
Yep.
So that was a lovely mistake.
Now
I've learned to check my email 10 times before sending it.
Hey, happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
Even me. Like, I'll make spelling mistakes. I'll reread the email though. And I've sent and I've looked at it 5 times before I've sent it. And then I went back and I'm like, how? Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Just happens.
It just happens. It's life.
I think my mistake would probably be the worst. I'll tell the story quickly. It was a beautiful unit in Toronto, and the day already had a very series of unfortunate events. People had weddings they needed to go to at 4:00. The unit was huge. The walk was long. The client was particular, but the unit was beautiful, and the design that all of us had put together for it was so nice. So we were talking. I was talking to the client, and I was unwrapping a bin of accessories at the same time.
Oh.
And I took it out, and I was trying to put it on the counter. And because I was talking, I wasn't paying attention, and I hit the corner of the countertop, and I chipped the countertop. I didn't break the vase, but I chipped the countertop. Mm-hmm. The worst part was that the chip of the counter flew off and hit the client. To top it off, Farah was on vacation.
Yes, and
So
I remember
she's trying to have mimosas at breakfast, and I'm like, Farah.
I remember this because that week when you were away, I said to everybody, "We are not calling Farah this week."
We were like, no one bother her,
call
leave her alone.
I saw Vanessa chip the counter. I'm like, call Farah.
Before she even said that, I was already in the corner like, Farah. The client was so nice about it. He was such a sweetheart about it. It was obviously rectified.
Of course.
And what came from that was now we bubble wrap everything.
Yes.
Yep.
I should be bubble wrapped at stages.
Yeah.
Probably.
A little clumsy. But hey, you know what? We learned from that. Every time there's a mistake,
Right.
we make sure now that before we unwrap anything, there's bubble wrap.
Right.
And we went and made sure that we paid and fixed that counter.
Of course.
Most importantly, the unit sold top dollar. And it looked incredible.
And it looked great.
And it looked incredible. The funniest mistake or learning experience, I would say, is our old logo. Okay. Let me explain. The old logo, when I was starting the business, I just wanted to get something done. Okay. I wasn't thinking too much into it.
Right.
Saw a logo, thought it was nice, put it on, it was done. Now people are like, what was that? Is it a chandelier? Was it a dress? Yeah. Was it a Christmas tree? We don't know.
Chandelier.
It was a dress.
It was a dress.
It was a dress.
I realized that after I had attached it.
Oh,
I didn't know.
Oh.
I didn't know because I didn't know it. Some people think it's a bouquet, you know. I'm thinking, oh, okay, decor. Of course, that makes sense.
Well, I thought it was a chandelier, so I was like, it's fitting.
Well, either way, it fits the vibe, which is fine.
Right?
It was definitely something that's now in the past. And thankfully, with your eye of design, you curated the new look to match the style and aesthetic that we are today. So applause to you for that.
Thank you.
The old logo still brought the company success, though.
Yeah, it
Absolutely.
did. Right?
The chandelier.
Come on.
Chandelier,
Chandelier, dress, flowers, whatever it is.
The Christmas tree.
Okay.
And the last question is my favorite. Is there a person in the world that you would like to take to lunch? Why? And maybe we can tag them and see what happens.
Justin Bieber. If you know me, you know I've been a fangirl since I was 10 years old. I have been to every single concert that he has ever come to in Toronto. Aww. I have not missed one. He is Justin Bieber.
My dad took me to my first Justin Bieber concert, and he was miserable.
Yeah, no.
Your dad was miserable?
Yeah, he was sitting down like this the whole time.
No.
A goal of mine is still to be the one last only girl.
Oh.
You will be the one last only girl.
Justin, are you
Make it happen. Make it happen. Yeah.
I would love to take Craig from Animal Kingdom to lunch. Please tag him because I would like to take him to lunch and insert a picture of him right here, please, so we can see who I'm taking to lunch.
Do we know Craig's real name?
Ben Robson.
Okay,
there we go.
Ben, Justin, we
and
have
you.
Well, mine's Oprah. Sorry.
Maybe she'll go on a separate lunch. We're all like, man crush.
Yeah, no, I honestly would love an opportunity with Oprah.
That's a good answer.
Yeah,
actually.
Because she lives a service-based life.
Right.
Which, you know, I was reading a book recently, and I'll quickly say this. She had invited a couple over to her house, and the couple was wondering, like, what do we get Oprah? Oprah has everything. Like, what do you get someone that has everything? They ended up getting her a bouquet of flowers, okay? Which she would have loved. And Oprah went and took this bouquet of flowers and put it right beside her bedroom window. And then they said to her, you have a garden that would rival, like, the Queen and Prince of England, right? And you're so humble. And she looks at him, and this is in the book, she says, you can't have all of this without being humble.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I just felt like that's exactly it. And that's, you know, if more people thought like that and led a life like that, I just think that we would be,
the world would be a better
place.
It would be a better place, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, just want to get some Oprah rub off on me, and that would be great over lunch.
Oprah, please.
But Ben and Justin, hey, and Oprah, we have space here for one of y'all.
We can all go for lunch.
Let's do it. All right, cool. So that wraps up our first episode. I hope you guys are going to stay tuned for all the exciting guests that we have on. We'll be bringing on some globally recognized designers. We're going to be bringing on business leaders in different areas of the industry, as well as people who've inspired and helped us grow as a company. So stay tuned.
Thank you so much for listening.